Now let's talk about Prague turning into America.
Authorities confirming a gunman has killed at least 15 people and injured dozens of others at a university. Police are also confirming that the suspected gunman is dead. The shooting was at Charles University, which is located in a square in the city's downtown area.
Police have yet to give specific information about the victims and the precise circumstances of the shooting.
And it happened at the university in central Prague. And the police also say that they believe the shooter was a student of the arts faculty there. Students and teachers hid where they could on the campus. The philosophy department was evacuated. There were
Is this photo for real? I saw it being circulated online of like students like getting outside and hiding. And for the chatters asking like, why is this global news? The reason why it's global news is because this doesn't happen. This happens in America all the time. This doesn't happen in other places.
Warnings going out and a lot of students on social media saying, we're hiding, we're barricaded inside, we don't know what's going on. Others spoke about getting off the tram just beside the university and suddenly hearing shooting. The Czech Republic is not used to shootings. There have been two mass shootings in the last 10 years, just to give you an idea of how rare it is.
Well, Elaine, I want to follow up on that because as we watch this breaking news unfold from the States, you know, mass shootings here are just all too common. They happen here more frequently than anywhere else in the world. But from what you've just said, only 2 shootings like this in the Czech Republic in the past decade suggests that this is...
From an American point of view, the crazy part isn't that a mass shooting happened. The crazy part is that a mass shooting is that rare. That's the wild part. That's why the CBS news anchor is like, wow, it's crazy how rare this is. It's incredible. Once every 2 years? Unimaginable. Unimaginable. U.S. 2 mass shootings an hour? It's like, yeah, we got... It's like 2, I thought they said 2 every 10 years. No, that's what I'm saying. It happened twice in a decade. It's like once every 5 years is crazy.
Is an extremely rare occurrence and even that more jarring for people there.
Absolutely. And with the time of year, it's something that comes as a shock. People are preparing for Christmas festivities. They're buying presents.
Fun fact, Czechia has the most liberal gun laws in Europe. Very similar to the ones in the US. I doubt it. There is 0% chance that any country on the European continent has as loose gun laws as the United States of America. Switzerland has the most guns per capita in Europe. And yet Switzerland, and by the way, I've talked about this quite a bit before the Johnny Harris video. All you Johnny Harris watchers out there who are going to come in here and like try to spit facts at me. Yes, something that I've talked about quite a bit is that Switzerland has the most guns per capita in Europe. However, their gun laws are incredibly strict, and understandably so. As far as the Czech Republic goes, I highly doubt that they don't have gun laws in the same way that we don't have gun laws here in the United States of America, where you can just like go to whatever the Czech Walmart is, okay? Walmartu, and then go and buy an AR-15. There's no shot. 1 million guns for 10 million-ish population is high, but you have to remember something. First of all, United States of America has more guns than people. So that's one. More guns in circulation than people. Number 2, United States of America doesn't just have a lot of guns. They also have no restrictions whatsoever. You're out of your mind. There's no other developed nation on the planet that plays as fast and loose with a weapon that is built specifically to kill people, especially versions of said weapon that is specifically designed to kill multiple people with ease. That's not a thing, guys, okay? No, that's not a thing. Plenty of places around the planet, in many countries, you can shoot a gun. You can even acquire a gun. But there are severe restrictions involved. Understandable regulations involved with the maintenance of a gun license to be able to go and get a gun. To think that like it would be anywhere near America's level of mania is psychotic and wrong. Shut your up, bait. You have armed security says Gunslinger 04. First of all, I got my bare arms right here, boy. Let me tell you something, okay? An armed society is a polite society, motherfucker. Don't come at me with this shit. That's number 1. Number 2, I never said you shouldn't be able to have a gun, you dumb I'm simply stating guns are very dangerous and you shouldn't be waving them around willy-nilly. Do you understand what I'm saying? you need a license. At the very least, our way of being able to acquire a weapon should resemble the way that we get a driver's license. Actually, bullshit that we don't have that. That's crazy to me. You need at least character witnesses that could be held liable. You need a psych assessment. And on top of that, you need to be able to demonstrate that you know how to shoot it and you know how to maintain it and you know proper safety measures. And if you fail that test, you can't have a license. You have to try again. And those licenses you have to renew. It's absolutely crazy to me that we don't even have that. Your argument sounds more compelling when you're waving the handgun. Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. Chart showing support for various gun control measures, all supported by majority. Only NRA/Republicans stop them. How to prevent gun deaths, where experts in the public agree. Yeah, there are incredibly broad, very popular support for a ton of gun safety measures. The problem is, however, we can't pass any of them. We can't pass a single one. And it's not necessarily just because of the NRA, okay? It's not just the NRA. The NRA is simply an expression of like how hog-like the American population is. But as we found out with abortion restrictions, popularity of an idea or how sound it is doesn't necessarily matter all too much to those in power, which is ironic because motherfuckers love talking about guns because they're going to use it against tyrannical oppressors. They love being like, oh, I got to have my gun because otherwise, how else can I thwart a tyrannical dictatorship when it happens? And then they don't even recognize that we are under that oppressive structure right now, dumb. The point is, we don't have a real democratic process on anything. All it takes is a couple goddamn Republicans to be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Suck my. That's literally it. What if gun owners had to pass a test? Czech Republic offers an answer. In the Czech Republic, you have 30 multiple choice questions, 40 minutes, how to properly mark X on the answer sheet, then you order phones away, only pen and paper. In the Czech Republic, this is part of how you obtain a gun. The test had all the tedious marks of a high school exam down to the motivational poster on the wall saying, I will. And for 40 minutes, 3 of mine had already failed, ushered out the door as others went on to later stages in the exam in which they had to prove the ability to handle a weapon safely and shoot accurately. Czech lawmakers and gun owners say this national system dramatically increases the odds of responsible ownership. The rules also require a health clearance and a background check and demand safe storage of weapons once they're purchased. In a country more populous than New York City, there were 7 homicides using guns during all of last year. The test is obligatory for anybody who wants a weapon, including hunters, collectors, and even some inheriting a shotgun from a grandfather. The standards are high. The test consists of questions randomly drawn from a pool of 501 possible. Those trying to obtain the hard-to-get license for concealed carry can miss no more than 1 question. The failure rate is around 40%. Practice lessons aren't mandatory, but without it, you have a minimal chance of passing. There's a government app and a website where people can study for the written part of the exam. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. That is a necessity. That should be the only way that you can approach this subject matter. It blows my mind that this is completely and utterly unimaginable. It's just not even a thing here in the United States of America. You don't need any of this in most places. I don't know what else to say about it other than what I've said time and time again. There's a reason why this is a uniquely American phenomena. There's a reason why America's the only country where this happens with the great frequency that it happens.
We stayed away from the doors. We barricaded the door. We put all the, desks against the door. We turned off the lights. We didn't stay close to the windows. And then 1 hour later, another police squad broke in and then put us on the floor, briefly searched us, and then evacuated from the building. So we're now in the neighboring concert hall called the Rudolfinum. And so we're all assembled here and our documents checked and we're waiting for further developments.
I know this is impossible to prove, but everyone knows this American culture being exported tragically. No, man. When you have guns, there's going to be a mass shooting, no matter what happens. Like, the likelihood that there will be gun violence when you have guns is obviously higher. The difference is, it's not about like eliminating every single instance of gun violence. You can't do that. That's not how laws work. It's never a perfect world. You're never perfectly safe. The goal is to make sure you can prevent as many instances of gun violence as possible. So I don't know if this is a unique one-off or if it's becoming more and more a reality for European countries due to like American culture, anything like that. But the thing is, most countries, unlike the United States of America, absolutely do take additional measures when things like this happen to ensure that it never happens again. That's the whole point. Just like, for example, Many of the measures that are implemented all around the world that basically create hurdles in front of gun ownership are not necessarily created so you can literally eliminate gun ownership in general and destroy gun violence in its entirety. That's not going to happen. That's like impossible. As long as there is any gun out there in circulation, the likelihood that that gun will be used inappropriately, it increases dramatically in comparison to not having a gun at all. But when you add additional hurdles, no matter how silly, you have to work around it. And many people don't want to take that step. The easier, the less barriers there are to gun ownership, the easier it is for someone on a whim to go out and purchase a gun and do something crazy with it. People forget how much nuisances and like additional restrictions genuinely stop as broad a swath of the population as possible. People don't realize that. It's not about actually just perfectly working 100% of the time. It's about decreasing the likelihood that it could happen. It's never going to eradicate it in its entirety until you liquidate every gun inside of a border, inside of a boundary, right? That's it. That's also interesting. We have very strict gun laws. This is the 9th mass shooting since 1989, and 4 of them happened in the last 4 years. Yeah, I'm in Jersey. I want a gun, but not more than I want to go through the rigmarole of getting a gun in New Jersey. Exactly. It stops a lot of people from getting a weapon because they don't want to go through it. Suicide is a perfect example of this, which is ironically, of course, in a very sad, very tragic way, a big part of the gun deaths in this country. Suicide is a perfect example of this. The harder you make it, the less likely people will do it. They don't always find a way. And yet there are still people who do, right? But suicide prevention, specifically for veterans in this country, if you want to understand how the situation is, we don't have good adequate mental health treatment for our veterans in this country, many of them riddled with PTSD. So what is our biggest suicide prevention for veterans? Oh, the Veterans Affairs actually releases an ad around the holidays for every suicidal vet to see when they're watching Twitch at the top of the hour and there's a 3-minute ad being served that shows you that sells you or gives you for free a lock that you can put on your gun safe. Because in those 30 seconds that you are unlocking, fiddling around with your lock, you contemplate whether or not you should do it. That's insanely dark. Not as dark as basically doing a segue through that, but I'm all out. I'm out of kindness on this issue. I've talked about this so many times. My name is Donnie O'Sullivan, folks. From this moment onward, you would refer to me as Donnie.
Donnie and I here doing jobs for the Group A security,
Oh my stress test, motherfucker! You
That's right. Sucking the man's dick.
Are you sucking my husband's dick?
Whoa,
No,
hold on.
no.
Hold on.
I'm Mickey Sinclair.
Nice to meet you too. Luciano Vincenzo, it's a pleasure. Let me ask you something here, Sullivan. Huh? Whenever you got kids and they ask you what was your first job, you gonna tell them grime deliveries? No. Hey, listen, I know I was driving earlier and you flew out of the car, but it was nothing personal.
whoa, hey, easy.
Right, you were driving like a madman. I, on the other hand, am following the law,
You're following the law, my ass.
4 Italians, an Irishman, and an ex-mayor walk into a bar.